Welcome to Shriram's IAS. Myself Shivashankari, alias Shiva Ignatius. As you can see this, before entering into our discussion, today we are going to discuss about the plastic pollution, especially a report which was recently released by UNEP. Based on that, we are going to see what are the possibilities inside plastic pollution and bioplastics. So before entering into our topic, you can see this is a marathon session which is to be held freely, so everyone can see and watch this marathon session which is going to happen on 21st of May. Okay, so now we will enter into our subject. See this slash plastic pollution and bioplastics. Okay, so first we will begin with the plastic pollution. As we know, plastic, even in the UPSC question paper, they also asked about PET bottle one time, like PET, polyethylene terephthalate is a form of plastic where and all it can be used. In that way, the statements were there. So first, plastic means what? It is a material, I can say, which is made from either completely a synthetic compound or from a semi-synthetic compounds also sometimes. Okay, the main function of plastic is that it is malleable. Okay, it can be molded into, it can be rotated into any shapes. Okay, so very easily, and also it's of low cost and easy to manufacture. So that's why plastics are preferred much by the people. Okay, so you can see plastics everywhere. When you turn around, you can see a lot of materials which are made of plastics only. Okay, and you can see that plastic itself are various types, but mainly we are talking about nowadays microplastics. Okay, and very few people know about nanoplastics. So what is meant by microplastics? As you can see, these are not kinds of plastics, but it is called they are fragments of plastic. There is pieces of plastics, I can say like that. That means the plastic particle which is bigger than 100 nanometer and which is smaller than 5 millimeter, you can say like that. Okay, so those plastics we can call as microplastics. Okay, they are a bit okay bigger, but nanoplastics, if you're taking, they are very smaller plastics and they are very small. Maybe you can see here that is around 100 nanometer in size. Okay, so these terms you will be seeing very often, you'll be hearing about microplastics and all, which is mixed up with the creams which we are using for face washes, toothpaste, like this in lotions we are seeing for scrubbing purpose or for whitening purpose we are using these microplastics, but they are causing much harm to the organisms which are living in the soil as well as which are living in the water, especially the marine biota only. Okay, so as we have seen, plastic can be made from synthetic, also semi-synthetic material. So today that's the discussion which we are going to do. And you can also know that in the UPSC also, then and there, some substance will be taken, some compound will be taken, or some particle they will take. And if it is in the news, they will put up that in the question paper and they will ask related terms to it. Already they asked about PET. Okay, so now see this turning off the tap. I hope you would have seen this word somewhere in the newspaper and all. It's nothing but a report. The full name of the report is Turning Off the Tap, How the World Can End Plastic Pollution and Create a Circular Economy. So this is the report name which was given by UNEP. Very recently UNEP released this report. Sorry. Yes, UNEP released this report. Okay, so it is related to in this report they have created a map, that means a road map to slash the plastic pollution. That is to eliminate, phase out the plastic pollution, because plastic pollution are creating a lot of problems in the atmospheres. That is in the biosphere. We can say generally in the biosphere. Okay, so, this report, which is trying to give some guidelines for the people that what steps they have to follow in order to adopt a friendly practices in order to save the environment. Okay, so what type of friendly practices they have to go in order to practice circular economy? For that, see this, they said if these steps are to be followed, then we can slash almost 80% of the plastic pollution by 2040 if these methods are adopted. Okay, so let us see what they have suggested. For this, they have proposed a reuse, recycle, and reorient or diversifying. Okay, so reuse, recycle, reorient. So these are the three words they are using, that all the peoples, all the countries, and even an individual has to think about these three words while they are trying to phase out the plastic pollution. If they are trying to follow this, by 2040 we can phase out, we can reduce almost 80% of this plastic pollution. This is the word which was a report which was recently released by UNEP. So if you see this, what is meant by reuse? We all know about reuse, that is a material has to be reused again. For example, instead of buying one time and throwing it out, है ना? So that we call as throw away culture. So instead of doing like that, what we can do, we can use it again and again, like the bottles which we are having, no, the water bottles, as well as the bottles which are used for milks, filling of milk. So refillable bottles, we call this as refillable bottles. And even the dispensers like this, you can see, packaging take back scheme, these are very good. Like the people try to pack up your materials, pack up your things, then when they deliver it, they will take back the packaging materials, the plastic materials which they are using for packing it. Okay, so these way, if these are followed, what can be done? It will reduce around 30% of plastic pollution by 2040. They are saying around 30% of plastic pollution can be reduced by following reuse technologies, reuse methods. Okay, then see this recyclable. This is a second suggestion given by the UNEP. In the recyclable, we all know that what is recyclable. We are trying to take the old parts, then trying to recycle it. So this way we can reduce the plastic pollution by additional 20%. We can say around 2040. So previously we are using reuse. Instead of throwing it out, we are again using it for some other purposes itself. That is reducing 30% by 2040, and recycle is going to reduce another additionally, apart from that 30%, another 20% plastic pollution will be reduced by 2040 if you are following recyclable method. And you can see the reorient, see this reorient, okay, and diversifying. What is this meant by? This is something like that we are trying to bring in a replacement products. Okay, we are thinking in a different way, such as that instead of using the plastic wrappers or something plastic items which are taking away home in plastic materials, instead of that we can use alternative materials for that. Okay, the materials which is made of papers, which is made from nature based solution we can bring here, instead of using plastic materials. In this way we can reduce the plastic pollution additionally by 17%. Decrease will happen in plastic pollution. So at the end what we can carry out is that, see, as of their suggestions, as of the UNEP report, they are saying that if we all are trying to follow reuse, okay, recycle and reorient. So these are the three suggestions they have given. And they said for reusing, if you are trying to reuse the material which you have purchased, you can reduce 30% of plastic pollution. Okay, plus if you are trying to use recycle, another 20 percentage you can bring reduction of plastic pollution. Okay, plus, and if you are using reorient, then reorient, again you can say that additionally 17 percentage plastic pollution can be reduced. And this is the plan, okay, for bringing down plastic pollution by 80 percentage. They are saying nearly all around 80 percentage you can reduce it. Another some more methods you have to opt in order to reduce the plastic pollution. So this is like a formula you can write and keep, that something in the name of a roadmap to slash plastic pollution. Okay, this is a roadmap to slash plastic pollution. So now we have touched the plastic pollution. We have touched a report which was recently released by UN. So let us go into our nation. What steps we have taken recently in order to phase out the plastic waste, as well as the single SUP. You can see here this is a word, single use plastic. SUP means single use plastic items. This we call as SUP. What we have taken, what major step we have taken, and it is effective from starting from July 2022. Okay, we have started to phase out it. So you can see that the single use plastic means something which you are using for one time. That is why we are bringing the word reuse in the UNEP report. No. So single use plastic means we are using for one time, throwing it away. Okay, that is something called as throw away culture. So this has to be completely removed from the people's mindset also, from the environment also. So that's why we are introducing this term inside the plastic waste management amendment rules, which very recently happened in 2021, and it took effect from July 2022. So there is a lot of possibility to be appearing in this year's exam also. And you can see that this amendment rules was made from the previous plastic waste management rules, which was earlier proposed in 2016. Around 2016, the first time they proposed this rule, no, then it was amended in 2021 and effective from 2022. So if you see the single-use plastic item, they have very low utility. Utility wise also very low because you're using it for one time, throwing it out. Anna? So and having high littering potential, that is waste. You're creating a lot of waste using single-use plastics. Okay, you're throwing it away as such. So that's why we are thinking to prohibit it. And you can see what are those single-use plastics which has to be prohibited and which takes effect from 2022 as per this waste management amendment rules. Earbuds with the plastic sticks, as we all would have seen that at least once and used it also sometimes. Plastic sticks for balloons. Anna, when you go outside, you see balloons tied in plastic, big plastic sticks, Anna, like straw type of thing. And plastic flags, even candy sticks, the candy we have small plastic sticks, ice cream sticks. These all are single-use plastic only, including a thermocol, which we are using, for creating something, some buildings or something. We are using a thermocol, okay? Polystyrene, it's something polystyrene only. For decoration purposes, we are using that. And the plates and the cups, glasses, cutleries, forks, all these are cutlery items. Spoons we are using, no? When we are going to some places like where the foods are served, they usually give this only. But nowadays, they are trying to rectify this problem. People, they themselves think they are taking, leaves, plates made of leaves and all. But they used to have this, okay? Wrapping, packing films around sweet boxes, invitation cards, cigarette packets, plastic or PVC banners. Read this. It doesn't mean it's example. They are going to completely prohibit these items, okay? Less than 100 micron stirrers. Okay, these are the items which is to be prohibited by 2022. And also you see this notification, that amendment notification, it also prohibits the manufacturing, importing, stocking, distribution, sale and use, all these. You should not manufacture, you should not import anything, you should not stock inside your godown, you should not distribute the people, and even sale, do sale and use of the plastic carry bags having thickness less than 75 microns. Okay, 75, less than 75 microns. The plastic bag should not be less than 75 microns. With the effect from 2021 itself, it came into effect, and having thickness less than 120 microns. Okay, 100, now it is not less, it should not be less than 120 microns from 2022, December 2022, it came into effect. Okay, so a national level task force has also been constituted by the Ministry of Environment and Forest for taking a coordinated effort, okay, in order to bring in a complete effort to eliminate this single-use plastic, which has been already inserted inside the amendment rules, plastic waste amendment rules. Now, even under the Environment Protection Act also, not only the plastic waste amendment rules, see this, there has been a section inserted under the Environment Protection Act of 1986. So you can see that plastic raw material manufacturers, no, if you're using a stick in the candy, the stick is not produced by the candy manufacturer. He will be getting from another person who has who used to make that small straw type of plastic straw, who makes that plastic straws, and he gets some raw material, the plastic raw material from the plastic raw material manufacturers. He sources it from him. So what they said, plastic raw material manufacturers should supply the raw material for manufacturing of the banned single-use plastic items. The above we have said, seen, no, the single-use plastics, here I have shown you, these single-use plastics. For the one who makes these single-use plastics, this person should not supply the raw material. Okay, he can supply it for some other purpose, the raw material for plastic making, but not to the one who is going to make the single-use plastic items. And also the state pollution control boards, they were directed to revoke or modify, the registration issued to banned single-use plastic producers. The one who produced ice cream sticks, candy sticks, balloon sticks, spoons, forks, they are manufacturing plastic, no, single use plastic. For them, they would have already sought a registration certificate. Now what they have told, what it is directed for the state pollution control board, that they have to change it, that they have to modify it, or they have to take it back from the SUP producers. Okay, same way the urban development department also have to, they have been directed to take necessary action for the implementation of SUP ban. Okay, even the custom authorities have been directed to stop the import of banned SUP items. So these are some of the statements along with the banning of single-use plastics has been inserted under Environment Protection Act 1986. So you should be very careful. Sometimes instead of asking the about the amendment rules 2022, they may come to this section because sometimes we are not aware about the other modification which is going on under the Environment Protection Act 1986. So they may ask a question from here. Okay, see this, and again the one more section which they have inserted under the amendment rules 2022, waste management amendment rules, is that extended producer responsibility for plastic packaging. Okay, so this was also introduced under plastic waste management amendment rules 2022. As per this, we all know what is meant by EPR, extended producer responsibility. We know that means the one, even for e-waste, we have done long back. That means the one who is producing it, one who is manufacturing it, one who is importing it, one who is distributing it has to be responsible. Okay, so the guidelines stipulated mandatory target on EPR. How? You have to recycle that of the plastic package waste. For the plastic packaging only we have given plastic package. They may say EPR for all plastic waste. No, only for plastic packaging. Okay, so recycling of the plastic packaging we use, or reusing of the rigid plastic packaging if it is very tough, instead of recycling you can reuse it again and again, and use of recycled plastic content. Again, the recycled plastic content has to be used for manufacturing new one. Okay, so this way guidelines has been issued, right? Now, we'll move to the last section of our discussion, that is bioplastics. What are called as bioplastics and what are the advantages of bioplastics? So far, we have seen the report of UNEP, which is recently released related to plastic pollution and the roadmap given by them. Second, we have seen that in India, very recently, what we have done to phase out this single-use plastic, especially, which we say the plastics which you are just using for one time and throwing it away. So, what measures we have taken? Under the Plastic Waste Management Amendment Rules 2016, Amendment Rules 2022, and as well as the section which was inserted under Environment Protection Act 1986. So, what are the steps? We have seen that. So, what are the single-use plastics which have been banned, and EPR we have discussed, and also the plastic carry bags. So, what they have modified so far. Now, we have come to the bioplastics. So, what are they? What are this called as bioplastics? You can see that bioplastics means it's something, a plastic material uh, which can be either a bio-based plastic or a biodegradable plastic. Okay, so generally if you're seeing reading bioplastics, there might be a confusion. They would say bioplastic is completely a biodegradable plastic and all. It's not like that. Bioplastics means it can be of two forms. It can be either a bio-based plastic or it can be either a biodegradable plastic, or it can be a combination of both. Okay, sometimes it can be only bio based, or sometimes it can be only biodegradable, or sometimes it can be combination of both with having both properties. So first you should know what is bio based. Bio based means the material, that is the plastic material which is derived from the biomass, that is plants, that is called bio based. Okay, that means the plastic material is derived from the biomass. Like for example, the corn plant you take, sugar cane you take, they have certain materials which are present there, can be used to make this bio based plastic. Even most of the plants have cellulose. That cellulose material itself is used for making this plastics. Okay, so it is derived from the biomass. What is biodegradable? Biodegradable means it is a chemical process, okay, during sorry, during which the microorganisms, once plastic is converted into a product, now this product is used and it is thrown out in the thrown out there, okay, in the atmosphere. We have thrown out, and what happens? This plastic starts to degrade. That's a chemical process which applies to this plastic which is thrown out, and now it starts to degrade and it decompose into some substances like water. You can take carbon dioxide, you can take, or it gets converted into a compost. That's it. So that means, like, how when you are throwing out an organic waste into a soil, same way, when what happens, that organic waste is acted up by microorganisms. No, that's called as chemical process which is going on. That microorganisms will break down the organic material into a compost. Same way, this plastic, when it is thrown out in the land or into a soil, what happens? The microorganisms will come and act. They will break down the plastics and convert into a compost. That is called biodegradable. So there are these are two different meaning. Bio-based means plastic material which is made from plant materials, that is bio-based. Biodegradable means microorganisms can act upon that plastic material and convert it into a compost or substances which can be used up again. But bioplastic means it can be only bio-based, or it can be only biodegradable, or it can be both also. It can be made up from plant material and it can also undergo biodegradation, or it can be only derived from plant material but cannot undergo biodegradation, or it is not made from plant material. It is made from fossil fuels like petrol. We are deriving plastic like that only, no? That's called synthetic plastic. So it can be made from the fossil fuel, but it can undergo biodegradation. Okay, so that's the difference. You have to be very careful while reading it. So this is a kind, I can say, there are a lot of the bioplastics we have created so far. BLA is one such kind. Like that way, we are having lot of, that's a short form we are using for bioplastics, different varieties of bioplastics. So, what are the advantages we are going to get? If you see, for example, the bioplastic which I am going to create is also a bio-based, that is derived from plant materials, and it can be biodegradable. That is, it can undergo decomposition and can get converted into a compost, you know, through the action of microorganisms. So, imagine that kind of bioplastic. Then, what are the advantages you are going to get from that? That means the reduction of fossil fuel usage. That will be the first thing which you have to keep in mind, no? So the reduction of fossil fuel usage, I think that and all is not here. You can add it. Reduction of fossil fuel usage, because I already told that petrol, the fossil fuel, which is from that compound only we are also deriving plastic. So it will lead to reduction of fossil fuel usage, and it also reduce carbon footprint. Because fossil fuel is not used here, and then it will reduce the carbon footprint. Very important advantage we can get. So for whom I am talking, for which kind of bioplastic I am talking? A bioplastic, see, I'll write there only. A bioplastic, for this is related to a bioplastic which is both bio based. Bio-based means derived from plant material and biodegradable. That has more advantages. That has more advantages. Even if it is not biodegradable and bio-based, and even if it is not bio-based and only biodegradable, also it has advantages, but not enormous advantage. But one which is also bio-based and biodegradable means there is a reduction of fossil fuel usage and reduction of carbon footprint. At the same time, energy savings also happens in production mechanisms. Okay, and even that's what it is written here. Non-renewable raw materials we are not using for production. Okay, that is reduction of fossil fuels. Then you can also see there is no waste which is, like, as the main problem is plastic pollution is lying there idle in the environment and causing trouble to the human and as well as the organisms which are present in the land as well as in the water. So now this will not happen, right? This will not be there, and this completely reduces the wastage, and also it not the plastic when it is lying idle there in the environment will not be harmful to the health. Okay, and this, when it is used in food products, will also not affect the quality of the food, as well as the flavor and the scent of the food will not be get contaminated because of these. Okay, so This way, like we can see, yeah, fine. This way we can see that these are some of the advantages we are having by of using bioplastics. Then while I'm completing, I thought of introducing a small term called as plastisphere. Okay, this is a term which we are now using. No, we know when we are studying about the components of environment, we would have definitely studied about lithosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. All these words we know, but now the scientists are talking about plastisphere. So, what is this called as plastisphere? Plastisphere. You see, it's nothing but already when we are discussing about our plastic pollution and all in the rapid revision classes which I have done for you, I have definitely mentioned about the type of plastic pollutions. In that, when I am talking about the marine plastic pollution, I spoke about marine snow. Marine snow is not a snow floating over the ocean. Marine snow is something we can say the debris, the plastic debris which are floating over the water, ocean water. Now, what happens in this, even if it is very small, this debris, even if it is very small in the size of a nail, there is a particular type of community which starts living here, a biome, a small microbiome. It starts living in this small plastic material. Like how we are talking about an ecosystem, this becomes a ecosystem. The small plastic material, even to a largest plastic, largest floating plastic material, becomes a ecosystem. Ecosystem means there will be a different type of people living, producers, consumers, decomposers, like this. Every people starts living there, no, different community starts living there. Same way in this marine snow also different community starts living, and we call this as a microbial reef. This community is called as microbial reef, to say. Okay, microbial reef, right? So like this I can say, sorry, like this I can say that this microbial reef, it starts floating in the marine ocean, and it is living like a separate ecosystem in the marine environment. So this way, that particular ecosystem is defined as plastisphere. Okay, so that term might be asked in exam, because very often they are asking some terms related, questions. So you have to be very careful. Then even few years before, they asked about greenwashing, a term. Okay, same way they may ask this term anytime. So in this session, we have seen about a few topics related to plastic pollution, which may be appearing in this year or in the future years also. So how you can reduce the plastic pollution by, the report which was given by UNEP, starting, that is turning off the tap is the report, starting from that, and the methods which they asked to follow: reuse, recycle, and reorient. And in India, what amendment we have brought very recent in 2022, from which becomes effective from 2022, by phasing out the single use plastic. And I also showed you what are those single use plastics which is to be phased